Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about the construction lines. I'm sure you've seen those dotted lines in the previous videos or in different tutorials. Those are construction lines. Those are the lines that we use as a reference, and they are not used to create 3D objects. They are just used as a reference. So let's create a 2D sketch on XY plane and let's draw a line. This line is a regular line, which means that we can keep drawing lines and we can just create a closed geometry and we can use that geometry to create a 3D object. But if I click on this line and if I right click, I can convert that to a construction line. Now it cannot be used to create a 3D object. This is just a construction line that I'm going to use as a reference. If you click on the line again and right click, you will see that check mark is active next to the construction. So if you click on that again, now it's a regular line again. Let's delete this and draw a rectangle starting from the origin point, and rectangle is created. Now it is created, this rectangle has 4 lines, 2 vertical and 2 horizontal lines, and this is a closed geometry. I can finish the sketch and I can select extrude. Now Inventor will automatically recognize the rectangle that as a geometry that can be extruded. We can use this geometry to create a 3D object. Let's click OK and create the object. Now let's delete this and create another sketch, select XY plane, and draw another 2-point rectangle. This time, let's draw a line starting from the midpoint of the vertical line on the left to the midpoint of the vertical line on the right. Now, there's a rectangle and there's a normal line in between. None of them are construction lines, which means that if I finish the sketch and if I extrude, Inventor will not automatically extrude the whole geometry because now there's a line in the middle that I can use to create the 3D object. So now it is asking me which section I want to choose. I can choose the top section or I can choose the bottom section. Let's delete this extrusion and create another rectangle on the XY plane, starting from the origin point. And then let's create the same line in the middle. Now this time, let's select this line and activate construction. Now this is converted to a construction line. If I finish the sketch and if I select extrude, now it will not recognize that line in the middle that can be used to create a 3D object. So it will automatically create the rectangle for me. It will automatically create the 3D object for me because the line in the middle is just a reference line. Let's delete that again and create another 2D object, 2D sketch. Now we can see the construction lines being automatically created by Inventor if we use different options. For example, if we use 2-point center option, use this midpoint to create the rectangle. Now notice that the rectangle is created and Inventor automatically created 2 construction lines for us, starting from the bottom left corner, ending at the top right corner, and the second construction line is starting from the left top corner and it ends at the bottom right corner. Now these are construction lines that I can use as a reference if I want to manipulate the sketch. And if I finish this 2D sketch and extrude, now it will extrude the entire rectangle. But if I double click on sketch and go back to the sketch, I can click on one of these lines and right click and deactivate the construction, which means that now it is a regular line. I can finish the sketch and I can right click and extrude. Now it is asking me which side I want to use because now this line in between is a regular line, which means that it can be used to create a 3D object. Let's go back into sketch mode again. Let's delete this rectangle. Let's maybe look at a slot, center to center slot. So let's start from the midpoint and create a slot. Now the slot is created using this construction line in between. We can dimension that, we can manipulate that, but we can use that construction line as a reference. But if I try to finish the sketch and if I try to create a 3D object, that construction line will not affect the 3D object. So construction lines are just reference lines that we use as references when we sketch the geometry, but construction lines will be ignored when we ask Inventor to create a 3D object.